हेलो। हाँ, ସବୁ ଠିକ୍ ଠାକ୍। Good evening, students. Today we will discuss about the last two units. One is on accountability, and the other is on responsiveness of the public system management. We have already discussed about all those requirements of a public system management like strategic management, management tools, logistic management, everything we have prepared. Now we will discuss about the serviceability of the public system management. For that, if the public system management is a part of good governance, then it must have the features of good governance. And two of the features of good governance, which is very important, is the concept of accountability and the concept of responsiveness. In a democracy, government should not only be constituted by the people, it should also be answerable to the people for any omission and commission. Basically, government servants or bureaucracy from top to bottom should function in public interest, and they must be held accountable or answerable for what they do or do not do. Because of the size of government and distance between the people and the serving government servants, it is not always easy to know why some policies are adopted and how they are implemented. Second thing is that even today, There is a gap between the people and the government, and the colonial pattern continues because people still believe that the government is distant from them. Am I audible? Yes. Uh, the major concerns surrounding accountability are how to apply checks on bureaucratic power, how to exercise supervision over the exercise of power, and how to work out institutional constraints on the bureaucrats who are power holders. Thus, accountability implies both answerability and enforceability. Western researchers, in their search to find out why the similar systems do not operate in third world countries, found that when they investigated, found that the system, though colonialism had ended and uh, democracy has been as operating, but the system has not developed accountability and enforceability. That means the system doesn't have the mentality to provide good governance. So, in this context, we must know what is the importance of accountability in the contemporary context of global governance. Now, accountability in simple terms is answerability for one's action or behavior. Accountability in the context of public institutions or public officials or public services involves the methodology through which public agency fulfills the assigned duties and obligations. It includes the process by which the agency or the official is required to provide answer for such actions. Governments everywhere in both developed and developing nations are powerful institutions run by the bureaucrats. Public choice theory in early 1970s pointed out that these bureaucrats, who are the core of public administration in a democracy, are not delivering uh, goods and services, public goods and services, as they lack the spirit. They are just rent seekers and they maximize profit. So it is so public choice theory said that bureaucrats are practicing methodological individualism. They constitute a community social group and they work for the benefit of their group. So therefore, uh, therefore, accountability is more or less related to ethical behavior and the functionality of the public official. Both the elements overlap, they are generally compatible but not always. Morality may call for disobedience to superiors, but reporting of superiors' unethical behavior to their superiors or to legislators, but subordinates do not do it. So, bureaucrats are accountable to the political chiefs. Political chiefs are answerable to the legislature in a democracy. So, the notion of accountability, therefore, carries two basic connotations: answerability, which stands for the obligation of the public officials to inform about and explain what they are doing, and enforcement, whether they provide any slackness in enforcing the rules uh, in relation to different persons. Accountability can be viewed from the perspective of domesticating power, and how can we prevent the abuse of political power. Subjecting power to threat of sanctions, obliging it to be exercised in transparent ways, forcing it to justify its acts. So, if somebody is exercising power, that person is asked with the help of reads that do you have that sanction? If the person is doing something, then under our Right to Information Act, we ask whether the person has disclosed its works, whether the person has maintained transparency. Third is forcing it to justify its acts. You can compel the public servant to justify its acts, why they do so, what they do so. Purposes of accountability. The first purpose of accountability is controlling, therefore, abuse of bureaucratic power and discretion. Many a times, bureaucrats, in the name of public interest, uh, use discretionary power. They say that in the given situation, uh, it was necessary to. The second purpose is there must be an assurance and performance in accordance with standards and quality. The third aim is there has to be a system promoting learning in pursuit of continuous improvement in governance and public management. Accountability places at least four requirements in public administration. Uh, Make laws work as intended with minimum of delay. Exercise lawful and sensible administrative discretion. Recommend new policies and abandon old ones. This was told by Peter Drucker. This was advised by Peter Drucker. Enhance citizen confidence in the administrative institutions of government. Now, whom should these bureaucrats or the political chiefs be accountable? Broadly, two facets of accountability can be presented from two interdependent perspectives: intra organizational perspective and supra organizational perspective. Now, intra organizational perspective is internal, and supra-organizational perspective is exogenous in nature. Conventionally, the hierarchical structure of bureaucracy creates superior-subordinate relationship. Under this structural principle, the subordinate is accountable for his or her actions to the superior. The superior officer at the top of the hierarchy is in turn accountable to the political boss. The political boss is in turn accountable to the um, uh, chief executive, or to the to give answers to the legislature. There is thus a chain of accountability that is institutionalized in democratic system. We can name it as intra-organizational accountability. If you consider government as an organization, and these are organs of the government, like legislature, executive, and different parts of executive, different departments, then you may call it as intra-organizational accountability. Legislative accountability is not considered separately. It is an integrated integral part of the accountability chain that binds different departments to the legislature. Now, legislative accountability is a core principle in a democratic system. The executive is constitutionally accountable to the legislature in a parliamentary democracy. So, this form of accountability may be viewed as supra organizational accountability in a democracy. The other important external accountability may stem from direct action by citizens or citizen government interface or citizen organization interface. Being discontented by the government action, citizens may raise their voice, citizens may have a protest march, citizens may submit a memorandum, or citizens may write to the government expressing their grievances, or the citizens may go to the judiciary to get to redress their grievances or to complain against the abuse of power. In this context, what we find that we have developed certain tools of accountability. That is, you can say Right to Information Act, you can say Citizens Charter, you can say media. Investigative journalism has developed as a category by itself to probe deep into cases of scams and scandals. People write letters to editor column is a common feature in all newspapers through which public complaints and grievances against public organizations are ventilated. Now, now we will discuss about what are the types of accountability. The types of accountability may be organizational or administrative. That means the subordinate is accountable to the superior. The superior is also accountable to his immediate